Hi everyone, welcome to my podcast, Bring It On. This is Dom. I'm with Mike, my co-host. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very good. How are you?
Very good, Mike. Thank you. You know, usually me and Mike, we do wrestling podcasts, but tonight is a different one. We're going to go into the paranormal, which is what I do. Mike has never really done any paranormal investigations with me. A few times in the past. You've been filming mostly, but still, you know, you accompany me on a few excursions, you know, in Maine and a few abandoned, creepy places. Like I remember at Letchworth Village. So, yeah, that was cool. And the fact of the matter is, right now is a moment of reflection because the last few weeks have been. I'm not one to usually, you know, use social media to talk about my personal life. A lot of people, my own friends, don't know that much about my personal life, so I'm not the kind of guy that's going to go and share it on Twitter or Facebook, whatever. I like to keep things positive, but the last few weeks have been kind of hard because my stepfather, who's almost like a father to me, because we traveled together. My first big road trips in the U.S., in Texas and Amarillo. And just for those who don't know about me, I live in Quebec, so traveling to Texas is from Sherbrooke here to Dallas is 36 hours straight. From here to Vegas is 48 hours. From here to San Francisco is 64 hours. And that's no stops, you know. Just stop gassing your car. You go up to 70 hours. So we used to do those road trips 3 weeks every year for a few years. You know, I did them with many people, with you, Bob.
That's right,
in 98, and with Bob it was most likely in 97 and 99 and 2001.
Yeah.
And my stepfather's name is Bob, and Robert. And yeah, he's a great guy, you know, like the Brad Paisley song, you know, he didn't have to be the father, he didn't have to be.
That's right.
Because he was not my father, but he kind of was there for me through my teenage years and all my years.
Because he was your mom's boyfriend.
Yeah, and all the times in my life where I needed advice and stuff, even during my paranormal investigation, sometimes I would ask for advice. Yep. And he was always there for me, you know, always there. So to see him now on his deathbed, you know, a few days short of breathing his last breath, you know, is very sad, especially this afternoon when we saw him and he was a shell, you know, of basically 90 pounds, and he can't talk anymore, he can't do anything anymore, he doesn't drink, he's on morphine. So basically the moment they will put more morphine in his system, his heart will just give up. So
right.
I almost felt like a goodbye this afternoon when he took my hand, and you know, like he's afraid, you know, that we're, you know, but I think it was very important what I did to tell him everything that I told him today, you know, most of it remaining personal, but at the same time giving him like closure, you know.
Right.
We've been through all this journey together. We've done all of these great things. Now it's time for you to go.
That's right.
You know, you've reached the end of your journey, and the last thing in the world you should do is worry.
Exactly. Yeah.
Worry about those you love, and it kept me thinking the last few days, you know, how many people, you know, sitting alone at hospital beds, you know, dying alone. How many people go and they still have some unfinished business and so much regret. And I was thinking that regret is probably the number one reason about so much paranormal activity. Exactly. Or spirits, you know, staying here because they feel like they still need to either protect the people they love or to tell them that they love them because they feel lonely, alone and scared. And to see Bob this afternoon, not being scared because, you know, my mom is with him all the time. And I was there with my sister and you this afternoon. Yeah. Last weekend, the kids were there with us. It's just that moment we felt like we're leaving the room, you know, kind of panicking and holding our hands. You go back to almost like being a baby towards the end of your life, right?
Right. Exactly.
Life's a full circle, you know. You're born, you're a baby, and when you die, you almost go back to that same, you know, insecurities, you know, even physically, you know, you can't do anything anymore. Right. You can't wash yourself anymore. You need people to do everything for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
life. Yeah. That's right.
It's totally, it's very hard, but it's something you have to accept as a human being, as a friend, as a father, or as a son. Is that, you know, we're all here on a small ride, you know, it's not very long, you know, like George Strait would say, you know.
No.
It's not a long ride, but let's make it a fun ride.
Exactly.
Let's enjoy.
That's why we have to enjoy our life, of course.
And I felt like it was important for me to tell him that not worry anymore, or not to worry. Now it's time to think about himself. His whole life was all about everybody else.
Exactly.
And now at this point in his life, it's about him.
That's right.
It's not about anybody anymore. It's about him and being at peace with what he did.
With his life. Exactly.
And everybody's got a past, everybody. Me, you, everybody I know, people I met, I talk to people.
Yes.
And the more you talk to people, the more you realize that everybody, even if on the surface everything seems awesome and perfect in their lives, they have things in their past that are either hurting them again still, or making it very hard to push forward or to attain the level of success they should have if they were free of those sometimes pain or old regrets,
Right.
and sometimes things they feel ashamed that they did or that were done to them.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's very important to be able to get rid of those things, to move along.
Right.
And kind of like a body being hurt. Like when I had my back injury this summer, I started doing my DDP yoga. Last summer.
Yeah.
And I started doing my DDP yoga, and now I feel 20 years younger, I feel totally okay.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with a spiritual journey.
Right.
In your life. It's sometimes you have to, the old pain, just let it go. And sometimes, the hardest thing, but the best thing you can do about old regrets or old pain or stuff that really pissed you off, and you still got it in your mind, and you're still feeling pissed about something or about somebody, something that, or sometimes stuff that happens and you don't know why it happened, and you keep wondering, and it's sometimes that's the reason why we get sick, because we spend nights not sleeping, thinking why. Sometimes why is not important. Right. It's the result. The result is there's a rift now between you and whoever person it is.
Right.
And sometimes you just have to face the facts and realize that, okay, we're here. Is it worth fighting for? Is it going to be more pain? Is it going to be worth the reward? Mm-hmm. Or is it better to just let go and move on?
Sometimes it's better to let go, yeah.
So I think that not a lot of times, but sometimes it's better to let go.
Right.
And it's very hard because, especially for a guy like me, I always want to know why. I always want to have answers. That's the reason why I do the paranormal investigating stuff, because I want answers. Right. I'm kind of like Mulder. I want to believe. I want to know what's out there. But sometimes, you have to realize there's some stuff that sometimes, things happen. They just happen. You wake up one morning, you don't have any feelings for somebody anymore. You wake up one morning, passion for something you had is gone. And it never really happens in my life.
That's life.
Yeah, but would you agree that I'm not that kind of guy that when I love something, it's for life, whether it's wrestling, whether it's the paranormal,
hockey,
X-Files, whatever, Walking Dead. I
stick with it.
When I have something, I'm in it for life, friends, family, whatever.
Right.
But for me, it's harder when I meet people who are not like that, to accept or to go like, how the blue hell can you turn your back on, not on me, but, on something that you loved and you're not doing it anymore? I don't understand.
I had friends that I used to work with, they said they used to watch wrestling in the 80s and 90s, and they stopped watching wrestling. I said, why? I couldn't understand why they stopped watching wrestling in the 90s. It was good.
Exactly. But sometimes, it just happens.
Yeah.
And for guys like us, who love the same stuff for years, who love the same people and cares about the same things, we have to accept that not everybody's like that. And and sometimes the best thing to do is just move on, and move on and accept things that are sometimes very hard to accept.
Right.
It's not the easiest thing to do, but it's sometimes the only thing to do.
Yeah, that's right.
And especially towards the end of your life, which is not my case. Hopefully, neither yours. But I mean, like with Bob,
he's older, of course.
The pain that he went through his life and all the things. Today, I made sure to tell him that his son and my mom will be okay. I'm a good friend with his son. I'm good friends with. I got a good relationship with my mom, so I'll be there for her. So don't worry, everybody's going to be all right. Everything's going to be all right.
Yeah.
So you can go, and there's nothing to worry about.
Especially your mom will be all right. And definitely, yeah.
And I felt like relief in his eyes, and the way he held my hand, kind of an understanding that, I hear you. Yeah. And I remember when my grandma and I were very, very close, stuff that nobody knows. Basically, 90% of my friends don't even know that, because she's been gone for 6-7 years. But I was closer to my grandma than anybody else besides my kids. I was with her all the time. I used to live with her.
I met her a few times, and she was an angel, of course.
Oh, she was awesome. She used to watch wrestling with me. She traveled to Montreal to watch wrestling with me, hockey. Yeah. Come to all my hockey games, my wrestling shoots, whatever I did, she was there. She was my biggest fan.
Yeah, of course.
And that was cool, and we were very close. So towards the end, when she got sick, and was dying at the hospital, and my youngest kid was there and helping her eat and everything. It was very hard to let go. But I remember the last time I saw her, and she was there was nothing left to do, and I always kept telling her, keep fighting, and then I said, no. Fighting is over. It's time to go. No, and I could feel like her holding my hand, and just poof, and 10 minutes later she was gone.
Right.
And I was like, sometimes it's hard to say those things, because you will miss those people.
Of course.
It's people that mean the world to you, but sometimes it's the only thing you can do.
Right.
The best thing you can do for people sometimes is to let them go.
Exactly.
And it's the same thing sometimes in relationships. And I know that in the society where we live, it's about, always, being able to it's always getting something more, getting a better job, getting a better position at your job. Make it like, oh my God, I've been with my wife for 10 years. And it's always face value what people see. And you always feel like you have to be perfect on every aspect, that you're doing great, that everything is okay. But sometimes you're not. And it's okay not to feel all right. But it's not okay to put it on everybody else's back. Oh, no. You have to fight through it. But at the same time, it's okay not to pretend all the time, and say, hey, you know what?
Right.
Your friends are there for you when you need them, but they won't be there for you if they don't know you need them.
Well, of course.
It's. I always said, lately I was talking to Steve, and I was like, damn, we haven't seen each other in a while and everything, but even though he's going through a hard time, he's like me, doesn't talk about it. I'm going through a hard time, I'm not talking about it. Well, you have to. For people to know you need them, you need to tell them you need them, because they can't see it through like a magical ball that will appear in front of them. Oh my God, Mike needs me.
Well, that's the thing about nowadays. People don't talk. Exactly.
We text.
Yeah, you go on Twitter.
We tweet. We Facebook. We whatever, but we don't talk.
Well, we don't talk anymore.
That's the big fucking thing. People are at the restaurant together, and they tweet.
Yeah.
And they go on Facebook. But the people you see on Facebook, is it the same people you'll see standing in front of you in real life? No, because we created that personality that is not really who we are.
That's right. Yeah.
Who we are is living human being with faults and good sides, bad sides, qualities, bad habits, good heart, sometimes selfishness.
Yeah.
We all have things and it's not always. Sometimes selfishness can come out of nowhere, depending on your mood, and you can go like, "Holy shit, why did I do that?"
Of course.
It's hard to understand sometimes the things you do, but the first thing you got to be able to do is to say, "I'm sorry."
Right.
And doing that, you'll be able to move forward and keep a lot more friends and feel better about yourself, knowing that you're honest with people around you and you're honest with yourself. Because I always said that the most important thing in this world, the most important thing is self-respect.
Well, yeah.
Because if you respect yourself, then you can respect other people. If you don't respect yourself, how in the blue hell can you respect anybody else or have people respecting you? It's impossible.
Well, yeah, obviously.
So you have to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and like what you see. And if you don't, then you got to do something about it.
Well, yeah.
And because we're responsible for what we do. No matter how much of a bad time or how much of a tough time we're going through, we're still responsible for what we do. If I'm having a bad day, am I going to feel better if I start throwing things around and screaming at people or whatever? I remember a good example was a few weeks ago. I was having a fucking shitty day. You know, I was going at the grocery store. I had a few errands to run, you know, and nothing was going as I wanted. I was running late to work. Got to the grocery store. There's a woman in front of me, like walking like a turtle. There's only one cash open, and she's like half of her stuff, you know, almost falling out of her little bag. And the lady was maybe in her 60s, but you could see she had trouble walking and everything. So the natural thing to do was go in front of her or start cursing. Oh, fuck, what's going on? You know, fucking, you know, shit, you know, I'm going to be late. Yeah. So what I did, I helped her. I helped her put her stuff on the counter.
Oh, yeah?
Then she had like 3 plastic bags. I said, wait, ma'am, wait until I finish because I only had a few things in my bag. I'll help you get it in your car. So I helped her. And as I helped her get her stuff in the car, she said, you know, it's been 20 years since my husband's gone. It's the first time somebody did something this nice for me.
Wow.
So I was like, oh, my pleasure, ma'am. So I left. And as I'm going back to work, a shitty day turned into a beautiful day.
Exactly.
Because I was feeling good. Not just good because, oh my God, look what I did. No. I didn't tweet about it. I didn't go on Facebook or post a message, oh, look how nice I am. I just, you know, I was feeling better because, you know, I said I could have easily be rude, right, or be behind her and say, shit, you know, she's probably going to have now lottery tickets, you know, to, and it's going to take 10 minutes and I'm going to be late to work. No, I helped her. Right. I got a few minutes late at work, no problem. You know what I mean? Life is not that complicated. We complicate things.
Well, of course. We're so busy when you know, we don't think about things. And that's the way life is nowadays. Yeah? It
is. So, and what it relates to the paranormal is that the more anger we keep inside, the more fear, anger, and unsaid stuff that we keep inside, when we die, what happens? Are we staying here because we feel the need to say those things? Do we stay here out of anger, out of frustration, out of, I don't know. But if everybody was able to be nice to each other and more people were able to have a nice end to their lives and die peacefully, I'm pretty sure, you know, that the spirits of people would be way more happy and would be having less of those manifestations in the future, because I always said it's just not unhappy. I'm not even sure, you know, I say spirits, energy, whatever. We're all talking about things that nobody understands. Well, yeah. You know, we're talking about what we call spirits. Is it energy? Is it something that we create ourselves? But I mean, I feel in my heart of hearts that the people that stays behind are here because something keeps them here. Otherwise, why would you stay here? Yeah. In a physical world when you're spiritually free of your body? You know? Yeah, exactly. You should go and be happy to go. So if you stay here, it's probably because there's still something that you haven't been able to do or to say, or you're residing here out of fear for people you love, that they're not going to be taken care of. Right. But I think that sometimes the best thing to do is to just accept the fact that life is a short ride. We do the best we can. And don't wait until you're on your dying bed to tell people how much they mean to you. And if you did something nice to people, or if you did something wrong to some people and you regret it, tell them. Yeah. If they don't want to hear it, write to them. You know, write them a letter. They'll be like, a letter? What is a letter anymore? Well, write them a letter. Send it to their address. Write it on Facebook or whatever, you know, on a personal message, you know, private message. Tell people what they meant to you, that what you did, you regret. You can't undo what you did. But if you could, you would.
Yeah.
If you could, you would.
That's right.
The thing is, if I slap you in the face right now, no matter how many times I'm going to say I'm sorry, I still slap you in the face.
That's right.
But if I slap you in the face and I don't say anything, does it make it worse? Yes, of course it makes it worse. Mm-hmm. It's still going to sting. But at the same time, you'd be wondering, what in the blue hell did he slap me?
Well, yeah.
If I say, yeah, I lost it, I don't know why, I'm sorry. It's still a slap. But, you know, as long as you can see the mistakes you make and try to make up for it, I'm not saying that everybody's going to be like, oh, yeah, oh, no problem. No, because we've done, everybody things that sometimes people will never really forget you or forgive you. But at the end of the day, like I said before, if you want to have self-respect, you've got to be able to look at yourself in the mirror. You have to be able to, first of all, take the blame and face the fact that you hurt somebody. Say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that what I did hurt you. I never thought that it would lead to that emotion for you, but it did. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
If there's anything in the future I can do to make up for it, let me know.
That's right.
And then it's going to be that person's journey to come forward and do something different about it. If they don't want to talk to you anymore, well, at least, you did the best you could.
That's right.
Because at the end of the day, there's not much more that we can do about it, right?
That's right.
It's like raising our kids. We can do the best we can, but we can live our lives for them,
Well, no, what?
It's the hardest thing as a parent is to see your kids make mistakes, and the only thing you can do is to assist them and try to teach them the right direction to go. And when they go backwards, you reposition them in the good direction and try to help them.
That's right.
And give them support.
That's all you can do. Yeah.
And so I just wanted it to be like it's been a while, I think, since I did a podcast not about WWE or wrestling. And as much as I love wrestling, it's important that because to me also the last few months I haven't done a lot of investigation. I get a few coming up, a private home that I'm going to do with a medium friend of mine, specializes in cleaning places, something that we've used Mr. Gina 4 times on our investigations up to date. The results have been amazing. And we only use him on occasions where people really need it, where we feel like our investigations doesn't help as much as it could help. And I think it's important to realize that sometimes, you need help from people who have probably powers that you don't have. Yeah. I'm a good communicator. I think I establish good communication merits whenever I investigate. But, sorry, Mr. Gina has a gift. And I can give you an example. I did a podcast a few months ago about my craziest, in Halloween, the craziest investigation I ever did. And the craziest investigation I ever had was a house not far from here. And, we caught so many crazy stuff, like the stench of, like a stench that I can't explain, And we felt personal stuff. It was crazy, a lot of stuff happened during the investigation. The guy was crying all the time. We could feel the energy in the house was totally aggressive. We experienced many things. We didn't know the number of people in the family, the last names. We caught everything on tape. We caught dark shadows and a lot of stuff. Where we felt things is where things happen. The guy didn't tell us exactly where the bad shit happened, but it happened to us exactly the same spots. Yeah. And that stench, that foul odor, like another that like rotten eggs was coming, and every time it was coming, something bad would happen, and it was crazy. So we spent the whole day, part of the night, and the next day we came back with Mr. Gelina, and he knew everything about the place without us telling him. He knew there were 2 big farmhouse. One that was torn down. He knew about the fact that it was an English family that lived there. They had 6 kids. He said, there was a fight in the family. And he knew all kind of stuff that we didn't even know. But he could tell us the way the house was made, where the energy was the worst, And we probably tired the whole thing, the whole day we were there, because when he came out the day after, it was kind of easy for him, to help it leave. But and I've kept contact with the guy, the owner of the house, and there hasn't been anything in over a year. So thankfully it worked. So I'm going to do the same thing next week, and where I'm going. It's family member that in your.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and bad stuff happened the last few months, and now she's afraid to live in the house.
Yeah, my cousin. Yeah.
And she's afraid for her kids' safety. She felt pushed down the stairs. And so we're going to do everything we can to help her, because when we investigated there about 2 years ago, we had some weird interactions, but we didn't catch anything like solid evidence. Right. But this time around, we're going to go with Mr. Gelina and just make sure that they can live in their house without being afraid. You know, that's why we're there.
It's an old house.
It's an old house,
yeah.
And there's been a lot of deaths in the family in the past few years,
yeah.
And maybe sometimes helping her talk to them. I've told her already, you know, to talk to them as if they were there, and to feel like protected by those, like her mom or whatever, and to surround herself with the love of the people that
her mom and her grandma.
Exactly. So so definitely, and so everybody, I was very happy to connect with you again. You know, I got a few podcasts coming out. I got one with Christina Russell of DDP Yoga. Oh, yeah. Christina is a tremendous worker. You know, she lost 60 pounds. She's now the premier trainer at DDP Performance Center. Wow. She's an extraordinary life coach, and I'm very happy she's been helping me on my DDP journey. Yeah. And I'm very thankful. We're going to do a podcast together. I'm still working on doing one with DDP. Oh, boy. And a few other things, you know, a few other surprises. You know, it's springtime coming up. There's going to be more to come.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Have a great night.